We don't need that there right now. How's it going, everyone? Let's see. Do I have anyone watching me? I have to. Oh, hold on. I have to put this up here. Hold on a second. All right, I'm back. So, hey, everyone. Good to see. This is not my regular streaming time. Uh, I'm in Barcelona right now. I've been here since Wednesday. No, Thursday. I got here on Thursday. Okay, I'm in my hotel room. First time I'm streaming remotely, and I've been busy. That's why I'm off my schedule. I wasn't able to stream earlier today uh, because I was running. I had meetings and things. Hussein, how are you? How are you? I'm in Barcelona right now. Barcelona. I was at the El Clasico soccer game yesterday. I was in Andorra before that. I don't know if you guys watched the stream. You guys watch it? The ICTC 2025, powered by Whitebit. I said that line like 10 million times. From Barcelona. You guys watch the stream? If you haven't watched the stream, it's actually you could watch the record of it. You see the stream, guys? So yeah, I'm in Barcelona. It's been wild here, man. It's been wild. So I may look a little tired. But I mean, my average sleep has been about 3 hours a night, average. I might sleep a little bit more tonight. I'm going to be here tomorrow, and then I come back on Wednesday. Oh man, you got to watch it. I don't have the link. I have the link, but I don't remember it right now. But I know if you but you know where to find it though, right? You know where to find it. You got to check that out. So I met some amazing people. I mean, this you got to see. You know what, guys? I tried to stream outside, okay, because I got this laptop here, and I was trying to stream outside by the pool, but I couldn't. My battery was not gonna. I wasn't gonna be able to do it. So then, so now, and my computer wasn't prepared right. I spent a lot of time like preparing the computer. So you know, next time, whatever. Like I wanted to be outside by the pool when I was streaming. That was what I wanted to do. Then I got to go in the hotel room, so you can't see how beautiful it is out there. I mean, it's nighttime now, so you can't see anything. But it's so beautiful out there, man. This is a beautiful hotel that I'm in. So, but I'm gonna actually be sharing all my stuff on Instagram. I have tons of footage and things. I got footage of the soccer game. I got footage of everything behind the scenes. I got a lot of stuff. So I'm going to be putting that stuff on Instagram because my Instagram right now has nothing on it. But now I have a lot of content to share. And I met a lot of great friends and a lot of great connections in this thing. But you got to watch. You got to watch that. You got to watch it, man. So cool, cool. All right. So let's talk about Bitcoin because since I've been here, I have not been able to look at these charts. I haven't even been able to trade. I set up my computer so that I could trade. Tomorrow will be the first day that I'll actually be able to trade. So since I've been here in Barcelona, um, I missed the FOMC meeting, and so we had that. Obviously, that was a positive. And then obviously, Bitcoin had been rallying since I've been here. And then while I was hosting the show, I got to see charts then, but I couldn't trade myself, right? So I watched these traders having to deal with Bitcoin and Ethereum and PP coin and all these other coins on Friday and Saturday. That's when they had to place these trades. And then, and then like today's the first day I'm actually looking at my charts again. So I obviously overnight, like when I got up earlier today, I was hanging out with my Italians. You'll find out about the Italians when you watch all my behind the scenes footage. And when you watch the show, there's a strong presence of Italianos. And these guys were like the personality of the show. They were so funny, man. And but one of them, they're very, very sharp guys. Like especially some of the guys behind the scenes I got to meet that run these websites in Italy. They focus on the Italian. They do like Bitcoin and stuff for Italy. It's all in Italian. And this guy showed me, like he told me, Trump and China, Trump made a deal with China overnight. So that's the vertical move that we had, and he was like on top of it. He's sitting there. We're in the hotel, like the lobby area, and he had like a news report instantly published. He's like, dude, this is what you have to do. I'm like, oh man, I just he's like a young guy. The guy's like, how old was he? I think he was still in his early 30s. He was a very young guy, and he like had the thing published in 2 seconds. I'm like, dude, that would take me like 5 hours to do. So anyway, I know great. This guy was like, this guy runs circles around me, and anyway, he was giving me some good advice. My point is, that's how I found out about the Trump China trade deal. So now, since then, I looked at my charts and now we can talk Bitcoin. Okay. I wasn't even able to produce my analysis yesterday like I normally do because I was at the soccer game. I know I'm slacking off, but it was like, am I going to sit in my hotel room and produce analysis, or I'm going to go to the El Clasico between Madrid and Barcelona? I have not been to any type of game like this since I was like, I don't remember. I had to go for the game, man. And I got all kinds of footage of it. It was really cool. Anyway, so I'll be catching up now when I get back. I'll be back in the U.S. Wednesday, so I'll be able to get back into the my normal schedule. All right, which means I will not be streaming on Wednesday. Yeah, on Wednesday I won't be able to stream most likely because if I stream here early, I'm leaving in the afternoon. So if I stream here early, it'll be like 2 a.m. 3 a.m. U.S. time. So I don't know if I don't think I'm going to stream because I'm going to run around and do other things before I leave. And right, and tomorrow is usually not a streaming. Tomorrow I'm going to really try to take advantage of Barcelona. Today everyone left. All the people from the thing left. But tomorrow, I'm here on my own. So I'm really going to try to take advantage and really, really do as much as I can, and check out the city. So all right, enough of my personal stuff. Let's get into Bitcoin, shall we? Do I have anyone else watching me besides Hussein? I was hoping Steen would show up. I was hoping Steen, just enough, just what? Enjoy. Well, I'm trying, Hussein. I'm trying. I mean, I shouldn't even be streaming right now, but I couldn't forget about you guys. But also, I wanted to test this out and see what it's like to stream from a hotel room, and can I do it? And what's it like? I mean, I could have streamed from the pool if I had the battery situation taken care of. I could have streamed from the pool, and I would have been streaming a lot earlier. So anyway, but that's what I'd like to do: trade from like remote locations like that. Hey Howard, how are you? So I learned a lot of things about, like, for example, this is again just a side note. Stian, he's my guy, right? He's the guy that helped me develop the Trade Scanner Pro and everything. And I'm like in his neighborhood practically. I mean, I have to go through France to see him, but I'm in the same time zone as Stian. Well, I met another guy from Belgium. He's a hedge fund manager, and the guy, I told him, oh, I got this guy Stian in Belgium, and he's like, what's his name? I said Stian. He goes, how do you spell that? So I spelled it for him. He goes, you're pronouncing it wrong, man. I'm like, how do you pronounce it? It's Stain. In Belgium, his name is Stain. I'm like, what? And then the Dutch, because Steen is not Dutch, but the Dutch will call him Stein. But in Belgium, he's Stain, and I'm calling him Steen. I'm like, man, how come he never told me? I feel bad. I've been calling him the wrong name for 2 years. So I'm going to have to apologize to Steen. Yeah, it's Stain. Okay. Oh, are you in the Netherlands? Are you there? Because I now have a whole bunch of connections over there. I got a whole bunch of connections. They said to me, come. They said to me, if you show up in Belgium, let us know, and we're going to bring you to Amsterdam. So I got my, you're in, oh, cool, man. So I'm in your time zone too. I know I'm yelling. I'm used to yelling. I'm sorry. Yeah. So if I go to, I want to visit Belgium. If I do, I'm showing up. I'm going to be in the Netherlands because I got a whole crew over there now. Cool. Yeah. So I got like insiders. I got inside information now to Amsterdam. I got the crew. You got to see what these guys look like. If you watch the show. Okay. My guys are Merlin the trader and Malik. Watch them. Malik is Danish, but Merlin is from the Netherlands. And that's my crew right there, man. Those were the white guys, you know. Then I got the Italians. So when you watch the show, Merlin's the guy. He said, "You come." He said, "If you come to Belgium, let me know and I'll pick you up. I'm only an hour away." He said. So hey, oh, you saw it. Cool, man. Cool. You liked it. People liked it. I mean, I was trying to be funny, but it was very stressful. They just threw me out there. I had not. I was lacking a lot of preparation. I had like it was wild, man. But you'll see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. But do you like? You saw the part where I got the Italian guy with the naked man. That I threw in there. I was like, I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm just going to do it because we had hung out the night before, and there was this whole thing about the naked man. So I said, "Hey, man, tell us about the strategy with the naked man." "Gay man, Gray, how you doing? From Shanghai. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm in Barcelona right now." That's why I sound happy. "I'm in Barcelona." Yeah, the naked man was hilarious, and everyone loved it. You know, when we were after the thing, I asked one of the people behind the scenes. I'm like, "Was that like hey, like was I pissing people off?" "No, that was funny." And I was the only one that had no idea what the naked man was. All the girls and everyone knew what naked man was, but me, because they all watched that show. I never watched the show. So anyway, all right, let's get to the charts because I could talk about this Barcelona thing for a long time. Let's get to the charts, man. I know I may sound drunk, but I'm not drunk. I'm tired. So let's talk about Bitcoin, shall we? So here's the thing. I got my little second screen over here. Hold on, I'm like rolling off the. All right. So as we talked about, right? So Bitcoin, we had that trade, the Trump Chinese thing going on overnight. So Gray, how do you feel about that from Shanghai? How do you feel about that? That must have been big news over there as well. And so, interestingly enough, right, Bitcoin is pulling back on that after that news. This is the daily chart. Now, I wrote no analysis yesterday, and this is the first time I'm really seeing this now at this point. And this illustration that you see in my chart is from 2 weeks ago, not this Sunday, but the Sunday before that. So let's get into that a bit. As you can see, I have my wave count on this chart. This is a minor wave count, right? That's why it's in Roman numerals. And this I was anticipating wave 4 to 5 to look like this, what you see in the illustration, right? But let me get to my pointer. Where's my little arrow? Okay, so this turned out to be the wave 4, all right? This little higher high situation, like this little pullback. I mean, basically, this is like your wave 4 right here. We never got this steeper wave 4. And that's the thing. Like, just because I draw lines in the chart, as you know, it may or may not unfold that way. So when you see a situation like this, let me make this big. When you see a situation like this, right, we're anticipating the wave 4, the pullback, and what you get instead, I should have put the monitor on this side. What you get instead, yeah, I got like this. This is weird. Okay, I don't think I can adjust this. I'm looking like this way, and the monitor is like over here. Can I? No, it's not gonna go over because the way the monitor has to be plugged in. All right, just don't mind me. Just look at the chart. So my point that I want to make here is when you're anticipating the pullback, right? But you don't get what happened. Instead of getting the full pullback, you're getting reversal signals early, right? Which like this little pin bar here. See this little pin bar? This right here pretty much cancels out the scenario. Okay, you see that? A says if Bitcoin loses, hold on, what was that? Put that back up here. Oh, there it goes. If Bitcoin loses 95K, is that a strong bearish market structure break? All right, well, good question. We'll talk about that. I'm going to put that, in fact, I'm going to put that here on the screen so people can read your question. So you guys understand my point here about this wave 4? Because when you're anticipating this kind of thing from 3 to 4, you can't get opinionated and be like, oh, this thing's going to go all the way to whatever. If it starts to pull back, okay, cool. But then if you get a bullish reversal, especially since it never broke this support, that's bullish. That means this little blip, oh, come on, go away. There we go. This little blip over here, let me get my square. This little blip was your wave 4. Okay. There's no guarantee, like there's no way to know the size of the wave 4. That's your wave 4. And then once you got the reversal, you're likely in wave 5. Why I'm stressing that? Why I'm emphasizing that is because that can really allow you to take some nice aggressive long positions because you're like, oh, that's it. I got the reversal now. You don't have to wait for this pullback. You don't have to wait for something that steep if you're getting the buy signal like there, right? You understand that? So wave four is in at that point. Now, of course, we're looking at this after the fact. So you can be like, yeah, of course we could say this after the fact. But I want you to imagine this before the fact because your two signs were you had the pin bar, number one, okay? And number two, the other sign was the fact that this support never broke, okay? This right here, that's a sign. So pin bar above that support should have at least said, hey, you know what? This is a potential long. So if you were feeling more conservative about it because you were unsure, you could have just taken smaller size or something, right? But once the pin bar closed and the high was broken, that was a signal. You could have considered that like there was nothing wrong with giving that a try because wave five was anticipated. We were looking for a wave five. It's just, again, you don't know where wave four is going to complete. That's how the market illustrated. That's how the market went about. All right, does that make sense, you guys? So here, I'll take this comment off here. So now let's talk about where we are now. And so this is your wave five, right? Now, again, these are minor waves. This entire structure, this wave structure right here, again, back to the square, right? This wave structure, that, what I suspect that is a wave one of the broader five. Okay, so think about that. That's wave one of the broader five. So if wave five is in play, and this is wave one of it, then what we're looking for next is the wave two pullback. And that's where we are now, the wave two of five. So the wave two should be more, should be a larger magnitude. Okay, so the wave two should be larger. Now, oh, that's not what I want. Wave two, let's erase this. Wave two should be larger. And wave two can be something like that. Now, wave two theoretically can pull back as low as the beginning of wave one. The beginning of wave one, the situation is back here, right? That's around 76K. I don't think that's likely. Okay, I don't think the wave two is going to give it all back. Wave two in this situation, I suspect wave two pulls back maybe into the midpoint of the range. Okay, that would be an ideal area for wave two. So the 50% or maybe the 618 area, those would be ideal. Okay, now again, wave two can overlap wave one. It can overlap things, and we have an old resistance here, right, as we could see, which is likely to act as a new support, okay, this here. So that price area right there is 88K. So 88K would be a high probability reversal area. That's where you can anticipate this area here. So you could basically give that a range, 88 to 85 or 88 to 86. If price pulls back that far, that's likely your wave two of five. Now, wave twos, corrective waves don't unfold in one leg, as you guys know. It's typically three legs. So this, obviously, we're in the A leg of it right now. That would be the A leg, right? Then you're going to get a reversal for a B leg. Don't get tricked by that B leg. That's often a fake out. All right. You could, if you want to go for longs in a situation like that, again, I'm going over the wave count because it can really give you guidance. If we're in a suspected B wave, then, and you want to capitalize on it, you work on smaller time frames. Okay. Because you day trade or, you just work smaller time frames so that your risk is smaller. And if it happens to work out to be a bigger trade, whatever, at least you get a piece of it. But the probability favors the idea of this thing giving you, like an ABC into this area. Now, what I'm describing is ideal, of course. This thing may not even pull back that far. It's very possible that we pull back, just a little bit, maybe like to here or something. And then it reverses and goes higher. If it does something like that, then we're getting a wave extension. That's what it is, right? So I can't forecast with accuracy and say, oh, this is going to pull back to here. I can't say that. But If it pulls back that far, then that's likely the wave two. And the further it pulls back, the greater the probability that it's going to be a bigger move back, toward the highs, right? So you want to look for those reversals like in that 88K, 86K, 90K. If we see bullish reversals on this time frame, like, the pin bar or whatever, those are going to be high probability swing trade setups. Right? Makes sense? Now that's where you can use the Trade Scanner Pro to confirm, not on this time frame. If you were going to use this time frame, then working with the 4-hour, working with a 1 hour, looking for confirmations on those time frames, but on levels that we've looked at, that we're determining now on this time frame. Does that make sense? So that's what I would be looking there for that right now. So right now, a few takeaways for you guys so that you can navigate this better is, for one, this is too early to buy. I know people are like, oh, we're getting a pullback, time to buy. In my opinion, this is too early. This thing, again, it has a lot of potential to pull back. Shorting, as you know, is something I don't like to do on this time frame, but shorting on small time frames would make more sense. 5 minute, 1 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute. If you want to do it, this thing has, I think, more potential right now to pull back relative to going higher. Does that make sense? Right. So you have a few choices. Yeah, you can wait. You can wait for those support levels because, again, there's nothing bearish about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not bearish. You get these little pullbacks, but Bitcoin's not bearish. And I've been writing that for months now. Ever since that 76K low, you guys know, you can see the analysis on TradingView. I've been writing that for months. Bitcoin is not bearish, and I don't think it's turning bearish now. It's just a pullback, but my point is, it's a little, I would not be buying here, especially if for investing, for swing trades. Like I wouldn't buy here right now. An aggressive swing trade. So, all right. So hold on. Before I mention that, are you guys clear on this so far? You understand what I'm talking about here? So I'm talking about the pullback scenario, right? So the pullback scenario, just to give you a quick recap, pullback scenario would be a corrective wave, right? The wave two of this wave five. And wave two can go as far as, in theory, it can go as far as 76K, but I believe that's a very low probability. So I think it's more reasonable for like a 50% retracement, maybe even a 38.2, the 382, right? That's where the fib levels can come in. They can be useful because they can give you some inflection points to consider for a wave two. Wave two, the basic wave structure should be 3 waves, okay? But you can also have a compound corrective wave where you have 3 followed by like an X wave, then another 3 followed by a Y wave. Like it can get funky like that. But, in this situation, in this bullish situation, I don't think it's going to be one of those compound corrective waves. Like something like this is compound. This, like all this over here is like a compound corrective wave. So I don't think we're going to get one of those elongated things, not after all this stuff that's been going on. We have the Federal Reserve next month. That's the big one. That's the big meeting where they're anticipating, the rate cut, and, Powell's guidance is going to make or break this thing or in the market. If he says, I don't have to get into that. You know what I'm saying? But that's a potential catalyst for this situation. That's why if anything positive comes out of that, and Bitcoin's in the process of pulling back, that might be a nice catalyst to turn it around. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind. So I gave you the bearish scenario, and you can consider shorts on small time frames. I think would be the most effective way to deal with that, because again, if it decides to turn around early, which it can, then you don't want to be aggressively shorting it. You don't want to become opinionated. The trend is bullish, so shorting it is high risk. Please keep that in mind. This game is about risk. Okay. So, right. So, the fake out at this point, this thing's pulling back. So the fake out would be it reverses and goes back long. So let's talk about that scenario. So let's say this thing, it's sucking in shorts right now because, all the fakers, this thing's a short, short this thing. I'm going to make $1 billion, right? And it looks like a short. Okay. But the thing is, this market is generally strong. Like I'll give you a minor support. There's a minor support right here. Okay, hold on. Man, this mouse is such a pain. Okay. So there's a minor support right there. Why? Because that's the midpoint of that large candle. So that doesn't guarantee there's a support, but there's a minor support. And if the next couple candles refuse to break the midpoint of that large candle, then that may be the extent of your pullback. Okay. So what you're watching for in that situation is the sharp reversal back up, the inside bar, where you get like a tight reversal like that, and you get the inside bar, maybe a pin bar. If you get something like that, then wave two is not likely in play. And you're going to have, because you're going to have a lot of shorts thinking, oh, it's going back to 76K. And they're all going to be caught in this thing, right? So if you see that and you're short and you hasn't reached your stop yet, there is no point in waiting for the stop. Just get out at that point, right? If you're flat or you're thinking the long, here's the long scenario. So you get the pin bar, you get the inside bar, then the next candle after that breaks the high of that bar. That's your long. That's the long on the daily time frame, right? Now you could, using this daily time frame information, you can apply this to your smaller time frames, your 4 hour, your 1 hour. If you want to go you want to reduce the risk. And again, that's where the Trade Scanner Pro can be very helpful, right? You have the idea, and then you're looking for the confirmations on the smaller time frame and managing the risk on the smaller time frame. But this is what the bullish scenario would be. And then in that situation, if you see that, then you're looking at that possibility. Because again, what causes that? What causes this. You get the vertical candle because all the shorts are now getting squeezed out, right? And all the buyers are rushing in, something like that. And this resistance, that the 105 that it rejected, is likely to be broken. Because why? You would have a higher low, and your chances of the higher high are much greater. So again, this is the second scenario. Of course, there is no guarantee it will unfold like this, but what I'm saying here is the probability of this scenario is greater if you get the reversal confirmed here. Then it opens up the possibility of the higher high. So you have a few choices. You can go for small time frame trades like inside these candles as the market advances, as long as it continues to push those highs, minor highs on smaller time frames, right? It should be advancing on this chart. Or if maybe you can add on this breakout, because this is a situation where I think the breakout has a higher probability rather than the fake out. Because again, this thing is on its way to the highs, right? And this may be, if we get this shallow thing here, then it's not a wave two. It's just an extension. And that means this market is pretty strong. It would be telling us it's pretty strong. And I'd be anticipating the test of 109, 108, 109 at that point. So if you're long, right, and you're trying to let a winner run, maybe you're on an hourly, maybe you're on a 4 hour, try to see if you can ride something like that. Give it a little bit more of a chance if you're interested in taking more risk, maybe with smaller size. I would try to give that one a chance, because the high is going to act like a magnet, right? Because everyone knows the high is up there. Everyone wants to see the new high, blah, blah, blah. And you may have that scenario. All right. So those are pretty much the two scenarios. There's no way to know which one the market is going to choose, but the market, you guys know, the market has to make the choice. I'm just giving you possibilities to consider based on what the market is choosing. Does that make sense? So we had the short scenario, which again, the short scenarios, you're anticipating more red candles. Okay. Going back into the, 99, what is this again here? The 95 area possible, or if it's more extreme, like meaning you get the wave, the B wave and then the C wave, if you're getting the 3-leg correction, then that may take you back to like 90K or 88K. And in those scenarios, again, you may get some bullish candles. And when you have that happening, but the B wave, I think, is going to give that away, right? The B wave is nothing more than a lower high. Let me just draw that. So the B wave would look like this, right? Back to the bearish scenario. You get pullback, then you get the reversal, and you're like, oh, okay, long, right? And that's where the longs rush in, thinking, okay, I'm buying the pullback, right? And then you get something like this, right? You get like the reversal candle over here, something like that. and then you get this, and everyone's okay, this thing's on its way, and then you get this, right? The lower high. You get the lower high. If you see that, that's the B wave. All right. And then at when the B wave, the top of the B wave would be this up here. Okay. So if that happens, then you see the lower high, then I would be anticipating the C wave. And that's where those supports, the 90K and the 88K, would come into play. That's when you have the higher probability of reaching those. Right now, we don't have that probability in play yet because we don't have a B wave yet. Okay, does that make sense? That's the corrective scenario. And if we never get the B wave, then you're looking at the shallow pullback. Then that's the bullish scenario. Okay, and then the wave count gets canceled out. We have to like readjust at that point. Does that make sense? So I laid out a lot of details here. I hope you found that useful because this should be a guide for your smaller time frame trades. If you want to take trades on this time frame, that's then you're going to be doing a lot of waiting. The smaller time frames clearly are going to be offering you a lot more opportunity as the market's gyrating around. So what do you guys think? Any questions? What do you guys think? Does it make sense? Now, what was that question we had before from A? Okay, right. So if 95K breaks, that would certainly be the corrective scenario, and that opens up the possibility of the 90K or the 88K supports, right? So that can offer plenty of shorting opportunities on the smaller time frames if you're into that, right? Or you're using the Trade Scanner Pro. That's how I would use it if I was going to trade smaller time frames. Does that make sense? So yeah. Any other questions? You guys want to see anything else? Let me scroll this over here. Okay, that's all the questions I see so far. So don't get overly bearish. There's no reason to go nuts, right? Bitcoin hasn't peaked and it's not bearish, and it's just in the corrective phase. And the question that the market has to answer for us is: it going to be a steep correction, right? Which would be the broader wave 2, because we have 5 waves in place here. Right. So this little wave this is wave 4. That's how it should look now. And this is wave 5 up here. So now we have the corrective mode. Another thing, another key takeaway is when you can count 5 waves, you should not be long anymore, or take your money, or don't be putting on more, being aggressive and going long. When you can count 5 waves, the probability of this becomes very high. Right. So the thing there is, it doesn't mean, it just means the risk is elevated for the current trend. I mean, the current trend is bullish. The risk becomes elevated when you see 5 waves. So take your long, get out, reduce your risk, but whatever you do, don't be going nuts buying breakouts or going in heavy because you're buying at the worst prices. That's how that's really how that warned. That's the best use of it, I think, in my opinion. I don't know about this wave. Oh, okay. So you have to Google it. It's a very wave counts are very they serve as a roadmap, and they're very useful because they follow, in order to use wave counts. What makes them useful is there are very structured rules, okay? And because of that, you can anticipate certain scenarios that are more likely. So for example, when you have a wave 1 and wave 2 and wave 3, right? Then wave 4 does not pull back to wave 1. That is that's the rules of an impulse wave. An impulse wave is a trend. So wave 4 is your most forecastable wave because you need 3 waves before it to show up. And then wave 4, as long as it doesn't overlap wave 1, any buy signals that you get, some may stop out if it's a little funky, because wave 4s can be like more of a compound corrective wave. But what it helps you avoid doing is it helps you avoid getting extremely bearish or short in an area where you should be looking for longs. You should be looking to buy supports, not support breaks, right? Because you're anticipating the wave 5. because there's one more potential bullish leg. There's a very high probability of that next bullish leg, or if you're in a bearish trend, the next bearish leg, and that should keep you on the right side of the market, right? That's what that does. But to trade the wave specifically, it's very, I would not use wave counts to trade. I use wave counts to form expectations, right? It's like a roadmap. So that's why when you have the wave 5 complete, like here, and look, it just so happens to be at this resistance line, right? What is that? The 105K. I had that line there in my chart. It's been there for a while because look, it goes back to here, right? It goes back to this. So you have 5 waves complete and it's right at a resistance like that. You want to be aggressive short, you could be looking for short signals, or if anything, stay away from longs, right? Because the likelihood of a corrective wave is very high. Now, how big the wave will be is another story. We don't know that. But the likelihood of the corrective wave is very high. So that helps you map out risk. And you can protect yourself because while all your retail friends are, oh, I'm going to be rich tomorrow. I'm going to buy a new high. I'm going to leverage. Why is it pulling back? Right? You will be like, I knew not to get into that. Right? And if you notice, wave 5, look, remember back here, 5 of 5. Whenever I see that, if you look at the articles that I wrote at the time, the headline is always, the party is over. Okay? The party is over because wave 5 means everyone that was going to buy for that cycle has bought. And now they're all going to be looking at each other like no one else to buy. And then they start selling, right? Because the potential is pretty much gone. And you have to wait now for the corrective wave. Does that make sense? So you should Google it. And you'll learn there's a lot of information on the internet about it. And this was required learning for the CMT. So I had to be very, very knowledgeable about this to get through the especially the third test, because this wave theory is it was a very, very useful thing for measuring or identifying trends and trend structure and staying on the right side, right? So when you have that information, it'll help you shape your expectations better rather than the whole world. When the market looks like this, right? Here, let me go to the replay thing. When the market looks like this, right? When the market looks like this, see when I covered up the corrective wave, the corrective move. When the market looks like that, you see that? The market looks like this. The whole world thinks that this thing's going to the moon. But that's a wave 5, and you have like if I can honestly say if I saw this in advance if I saw this before the move and I saw we were up with this resistance line and I saw this and I was writing my article, I would have written. I can be honest about this. I would have written this is a wave 5 and you're going into a resistance. So the likelihood of a retrace is very high. So the risk what that means is the risk on the long side is very high. If you're going to be taking longs, small bites, no swing trades, smaller size. That's how you protect yourself because the likelihood of this thing turning is high, right? That's how you use that. You don't sit there and say, well, if he's expecting a wave 5, then just short it. You don't just short it. You have to wait for the confirmations, but at least you can be prepared. And that would be maybe an ideal scenario for counter trend mode because you're in a location and the wave count says your probability of that turning point is high, right? This is a probability game. So that's how you prepare yourself. Does that make sense? So anyway, all right. So I've been talking a lot about Bitcoin. How many people I got watching me here? I got a few people. So people, let me see. 13 people on YouTube. That's like a new high. What a new high. 13 people. Okay, that's cool. I usually get like 5 people, but actually the afternoon ones usually do a little bit better, So yeah, and Twitter's decent. Okay, so if that retrace broke, that would be a long signal then, right? So this retrace right now, right? So like I explained before, the bullish scenario. If this retrace right here turned quickly, meaning the next candle you get like a bullish pin bar right there, right? That cancels out the bearish scenario right? Like in the next candle, you should be working your way back up like that. Now, what's tricky is if you get the reversal, let's say tomorrow or the next day, you get the bullish reversal and you're like, okay, here we go. And you're expecting that new high, right? But instead, you don't get a new high. Now the market's throwing a curveball. If you get something like this, you get like a bearish candle right there because it gives you the failed high, then that changes everything again. Okay? Theoretically, the probability favors the higher high. But if the market decides not to deliver that, then you have the B wave, right? Then what that means is you have a very tight little wave 4, or a wave 2, if this is a broader wave 1, or it's an extension or whatever, right? And the broader correction has not started yet. Does that make sense? If you get like the failed high here, then that could be, if you get the failed high, then that could be the beginning of wave 2, possibly. So what all that means is you have to adjust. Okay? You have to adjust if you see another curveball come in there like that. And if I was able to stream more often, or maybe updates on Twitter, then I can highlight those things. Because I see it right away and I recognize it and I know what to do. That 105 covers is going back in time, and suppose we had not gotten the retrace yet. Okay, no, I'm confused. So I meant that 105K resistance. Oh, the 105K going back in time, and suppose we had not. Okay. So let's erase the current candles, right? So let's go back to here. Right. So now in this situation, okay, A. So yes, so the probability favors the retrace, but that means there could be like a 70% or 60% probability. I don't know the exact probability, but so that means there's a chance that it can also break, right? Higher. It could have done this too. Okay, it could have done that. If it had done that, then the way I would treat that is, again, the higher it goes at that point, because again, we're still in a wave 5. You realize that wave 5 has 5 little subwaves in it, right? And you can actually count 5 waves here: 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And this actually was this candle was the 5th subwave, but it could extend. But if it was going to extend, then it would look like this: green candle, continuation. But that's still a wave 5. And the higher it goes in that scenario, usually when you get something like that, it does something like this, right? It gives you a dramatic candle. And it usually convinces every moron and their cousin that this thing's a long. And they all pile in, right? And that's usually like the blow off top. And when you're in a wave 5 and you see a situation like that, great for day trades. But if you're taking swing trades, or you're like, oh, I'm going to buy some as an investment, you are buying the worst prices. Okay, you're taking the most risk, and people are happy to dump it on you. People who know, they're happy to dump it on you and take their profits. Okay, so that's how so even if you got that bullish scenario, I would be extremely cautious in that type of situation, because if there's no pullback, then at some point this thing's going to turn. There's no pullback, that means there's a greater probability that there's going to be a pullback, because markets don't move in straight lines. It may be a tiny pullback, but the thing is, if a pullback begins, we don't know if it's going to be small or big. Does that make sense? Okay. So it's still a wave 5. As long as we're in a wave 5, the risk just continues to increase. And at some point, it's going to be realized, right? And that pullback will unfold. The point of it is using it as a risk management tool. You can say, okay, I'm in a high risk situation. I should adjust. I should trade smaller size. I should not trade at all. I should have low expectations of my longs. That's it. That's what the wave 5 tells me to do. I'm not sitting there, oh, I'm going to short it because I'm a genius. I don't do stuff like that. I just say, okay, high risk. Either I'm just going to avoid this, or if I'm going to get involved on the long side, I recognize that the long potential is going to be very limited compared to if we had pulled back and we were reversing at a support level, or we were reversing at the midpoint of that big candle. Now that's another story. Now I would believe that that the longs have greater potential because we had the pullback and the bullish structure is still intact. And as we know, with bullish structures, support levels are more likely to hold. So if I see reversal at a support level like this that I described earlier, this situation, this would call for That would tell me this would be a high probability long situation. I would not be looking for shorts here if I saw the support develop on top of this, like the bullish candle develop on this support area, right? It's somewhat, of course, it's somewhat risky, but that's more attractive for a long, especially on smaller time frames compared to this. This is not attractive at all. Okay. Maybe like, maybe you had this little continuation candle inside of here, the inside bar, but that's only useful for small time frames. Because on this time frame, like for swing trades, if like, would you go swing trade long up here? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And it's still, even right now, this is too early for longs. Okay. It's too early. We don't even have a green candle. So, of course, you can argue with me and you can say, well, if I go to a 5-minute chart, there's a green candle. Right. But 5-minute charts don't carry any weight on this time frame. So there's nothing to do here but wait for a reversal, right? And the reversal on the larger time frame should guide your decision making on your smaller time frames. Right? That's where you can use the daily high and low, right? That's where you can use the opening range, and that's where you could use the Trade Scanner Pro to give you those confirmations. Does that make sense? I know it may be overwhelming and confusing, but you have to be able to put all these puzzle pieces together. And the key here is just it's adjusting. You're constantly adjusting as the market provides new information. So, this is an outside bar, but no reason to get overly bearish. Be careful of all the garbage you see all over the place, as I always tell you guys, because they're just looking for your attention. And you're going to see headlines, Bitcoin's going to zero, blah, blah, blah. Or some people may say, buy the pullback. This is a nice pullback. Buy it. Too early. You're taking a lot. You're still in high risk areas. Remember, probabilities are associated with locations. So when you're at resistance levels, even in a bullish market, still it's a resistance level. You should be more conservative with buying, right? Now, and if it can break the resistance, sure, but you have to look at the structures around the levels. If we were the resistance level situation, because you can say, oh, resistance, I'm going to go short. You want to see resistance levels for shorts, high probability shorts in bearish structures. This is not a bearish structure. This is not a bearish structure. So resistance levels are not going to be ideal to short. You should have low expectations of them. Support levels are going to be ideal to buy because we're in a bullish structure. That means support levels have a greater chance to hold. So if you're going to be more aggressive or take more of a chance or take bigger positions, it should be at support levels as long as the price is confirmed. And that's where the Trade Scanner Pro, once again, can help you. All right, makes sense? How's it been using Spanish? Good question, eh? Well, let's see. I've been getting by a little bit, but all the people here all the hotel people and stuff, and the restaurant people, they speak English, so you can actually get away with English. But I do try to speak Spanish, and I've been getting away with it a little bit. I've been getting away with it. So I could certainly ask for basic things and stuff like that. Like we were in a cab earlier today, and I was asking the cab driver a question about the port over here because I'm only 3 hours away from some of these islands like Ibiza and Mallorca, and there was another Formata, I think it was called. And so the guy was explaining, but they speak really fast. But I was able to ask him, how long does it take to get to the island, by boat? And then he was explaining, like it could take 3 to 6 hours. And I was able to actually, I had someone there to translate. There was this girl that was with us, and she was actually having the conversation with him. But I was actually able to participate in that conversation. Whereas 5 years ago, I would not have been able to do that. So, it seemed like the break. So I thought that 95K would be a good long too. Do you think you could show me the waves in the rally? Well, so all right, because what you're looking at here are minor waves, right? That's why they're in Roman numerals. So the broader waves that are the numbers here, right? The numbered waves. So you see that here, right? The numbered waves. That was the questionable wave 5, right? Because when we go back, we can go to the weekly chart. Okay? And when you look at the weekly chart, this is really, you want to get an idea of where we are in the bigger picture. This is wave 1 back here. That's like 2017. Okay. Wave 2, typical wave 2 consolidation. Wave 3, very dramatic wave. Okay. Wave 4, now this is very tricky. Wave 4 are actually, they can make a higher high and not actually be wave 5. So this, I suspected at the time, if you look at my analysis at the time, I was considering this as a potential wave 4. And I was warning people, don't go nuts at this high. Don't go nuts. And then we pulled back to the infamous 15K, right? So that could have been a wave 5, or this could have been, yeah. I mean, the thing is, this situation right here, it's very complicated. Looking back after the fact, we can call it a lot of things. We could say, well, it made the higher high, it's a wave 5, and then it goes into the corrective wave, right? A, B, C, basically, right? And then the new cycle begins, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the 5th wave. Do you see that? So this new cycle from 15K here, that's the 15K bottom. This is the wave structure of it, okay? And this is the 3, right? And I have the question mark, wave 5, right? See that question mark? Because there's 2 wave 5s there. There's the sub wave 5, right? And I was questioning, is that the broader wave 5 or, not? Now, we had this wave 4 situation, right? The corrective wave. So actually, this broader wave 5 question mark is incorrect. This isn't the broader, this wasn't the broader wave 5. We're in the broader wave 5 now. Okay, I suspect we're this wave 5 question mark, which is the super cycle wave 5. I think that would be the correct name, or the cycle. I don't like to go by the labels, can be very confusing. So I'll just say broader wave 5. This wave 5, I believe we're in now. And in of that wave 5, we've completed the first wave of it. Okay, that's what I suspect. And the wave 2 pullback should be some sort of minor pullback on this chart. And that could be the 95K or 90K. That would be our little wave 2 pullback, which would be equivalent to a higher low. So even if you don't know the wave counts, it would just be a higher low. But when you know the wave counts, you know if this is a wave 2 and you can identify that as a potential wave 2, that's more valuable than knowing if it's just a pullback. The reason for that is wave 3s have a certain character to them. Wave 3s are typically very dramatic and very, very big. So if you know that a very dramatic potential bullish wave is potentially ahead of you, you can prepare for that better rather than it's a random high or low and you're unsure of everything. That's why knowing wave counts is so helpful. It gives you the roadmap. So if that's a wave 2, wave 3 should take us beyond 109K. And I can say that's what gives you confidence. That's what gives you conviction, because if that's truly a wave 3, we should be seeing 113, 120, something like that. That's a typical wave 3, something along those lines. Okay, make sense? So, all right, how much time do I got? I got a few more minutes. Does anyone want to see anything else here? I'm going to get off Bitcoin now. Anyone want to see anything else? We can go to we could take a quick look at the S&P and stuff. I haven't seen that, so we could take a quick look. I'd like to take a quick look at that. Let's see, NQ. Well, actually, no. We could use QQQ. Right now, look at Qs. I don't even want to look at this price. Oh, 507. I got out of this stupid thing at 464, and I was so proud of myself. And I only made money on the options. If I had held on to that, I would have made another $4,000. I am not happy right now. So anyway, I took all the risk and I left all the reward on the table because I took the risk too early. I started buying it too early. That was the problem with that. But look at this, man. Wow. So here's the thing. So this is the China trade deal. That's what this is. We'll call that the China trade deal candle. Now that's a gap. You see the gap on that thing? I'm going to tell you right now, that's a high risk candle. Okay. Look, we can actually look at the wave count on this as well. 1, this is bottom of wave 2, right? I'll draw it with squares. It's better. right? Wave two. This is wave three right here. This entire thing is wave three, right? Because inside there, we can actually count 5 waves. We can say like a 1, there's a 2. Actually, no, 1, the 2 would be here. 3 would be the larger portion. 4 would be these little consolidating candles. And this is 5, okay? So when I see a situation like that, it's very minor waves, but if I see a situation like that, not only that, but look at this. We have this resistance right here. See this resistance area? See this? We're inside of that resistance area. We're like still in the fake out zone. We're like in a fake out zone, basically, based on this little resistance right there. So we don't have, and there's also, look at this back here. Look at this back here. All old support, new resistance. You see all that lining up? That tells me one thing about the NASDAQ. As beautiful as it looks, I would not touch it with your money. Okay? I would not touch it with your money. For day trades, sure. Longs, no problem. But swing trades, no effing way. This thing has 5 waves in it. Actually, it has 5 mini waves of wave 3. This entire thing is wave 3. Okay, so this section here is wave 2. All right, and this section here is wave 2. So wave 4 is likely to come next. And usually wave 2 and wave 4 have a relationship. If one is sharp, then one tends to be flat, right? So wave 4 in this situation may be some kind of consolidation that develops in this area right here. And it's not allowed to overlap wave 1. So as long as it stays above this level, which is what? That's like the 461, 463 level, 468 level. As long as it stays above that level, that's where you want to look for longs, right? So this is where, if we stay above this area right here, that's where I would consider swing trade longs on the NASDAQ, right? That would be a good time to maybe buy call options, sell bear call, bull put spreads, right? That's where you could sell the puts against that, but you protect yourself. So you could do iron condors, but really the bull put spreads I think would make the most sense. And they're a little more aggressive, but as the market starts going your way, you make some little money with that. So that's how I would look at that. So basically, my point is, right now, as everyone's having a party, this is extremely high risk. So you see how that works? Like, and I would have said the same thing about Bitcoin if I saw that situation. So I could say it about the NASDAQ. So you could see how this plays out over the following week. But this is high risk. Maybe it'll go a little higher. And again, day trades, no problem with longs, but swing trades, high risk, right? So it's too early to short it, though. I wouldn't short this either. Some people say, "Oh, I'll buy puts." It's too early. We don't have any sell signals here. We just said we have this gap, and this gap is likely to get filled. That's a pretty serious gap, and gaps like to be filled. So I would certainly you'd be using that as some type of reference. See that gap right there? So that means likelihood of pullback very high. I would just wait. So what I would do if you're going to trade options, look at a smaller time frame, maybe the hourly, all right, something like that. And then if you're going to be doing bull put spreads, no, I don't the bear call spreads, right? Short the lower call, buy the higher call to protect yourself. You want to look at selling. First, you want to wait for the sell candle to show up. We don't even have that. You need a bearish candle, some kind of bearish candle, first of all. And then, you could do like, if you want to be more aggressive, you could sell like in the money call and then an out of the money call. But that means you could get a sign. By the way, if you're going to do that, do it on the SPX. The NASDAQ and the SPX, they're going to move the same way. Do it on the SPX, not the Qs, because the SPX doesn't have, what do you call it? Assignment risk, right? The problem is selling these type of spreads where you're collecting premium, where you're selling premium basically on things like this, is if the market closes inside of your spread, you're going to get assigned. And you don't want to get assigned, right? You don't want to be getting stuck in the shares. So the SPX settles in cash. So you don't have to worry about getting assigned. Right? So if the market goes against you and it closes inside of your spread, the difference is just in dollars, not in you're not going to get stuck with SPX shares because there are no such thing as SPX shares. All right, makes sense. I know I'm getting a little advanced here with the options, but for those of you that trade options, okay, um, okay, what's that? Hold on, what's Andrea say over here? Let me go back. I can't scroll back here. Come on, man. Um, okay. Yes, Andrea, I'm in Barcelona. They are very good there. Most people can. Yes, they can. Yeah, I found that English is very common here. That's right. Oh yeah, we got all kinds of people here. But yeah, interesting. Little marketing advice: you should really open an account on some Chinese social like Bilibili, Weibo, Little Red Book. These fake pros are much more than these fake pros are much more than YouTube and X. I don't understand what you mean. Fake pros? These fake pros are much more. Oh, you mean so they have a bigger following on Bilibili and Weibo? But great. If I do it in English, I mean, what would people? I mean, would that be like a problem? Because I certainly can't speak. I could only thing I could say in Mandarin. All right, I think no, I don't think I've shared these words with you. 我造你拿木 and 你 sure 王八蛋. I can say those things, but that's all I can say. I probably shouldn't say those if I'm putting my content on those channels. Oh, okay. Oh. So can I do AI? Like AI can probably like I could do a voice. I could do a voice. You like that? What's out? Um, I could do like a voice, like a voice in Mandarin or whatever. Is that how that works? And I would put like the voice, like I would do AI to like just translate what I'm saying, and then the voice. Is that what you mean? Because that's interesting, and I appreciate the advice. Because yeah, maybe I'd have a little bit more of an advantage there. I don't know. Like the Italian guys were telling me, they only stick to their Italian niche. Because I said, why don't you do this in English? You have some good stuff here. And they're like, because there's too much competition. That's what they told me. They said we stick to our Italian niche because there's a lot less competition, and that's why they do so well over there. If they were trying to compete in English, they would just be like they would just like me. No, no one watching me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, thank you for that advice. I will keep that in mind for sure because I'd love to get into whatever I can do to expand. So I appreciate that. Anyway, all right, guys. So it's been an hour now, and it's like after 10 o'clock my time. Because I don't sleep here. There's no such thing as sleep. That's like that sleep is outdated. In Spain, you don't sleep. Okay? And I was in Andorra before this. That's where that show was. It was in Andorra. Yeah, Gray, you see the ICTC? You see the competition? If you haven't seen it, check it out. That's why I'm here. So that was done in Andorra, which is 3 hours away from here. And it was, man, it was real pain getting up there. But Andorra is a beautiful place. Like Santa Claus vacations up in Andorra. That's what that was like. It's a tiny country in between France and Spain. Very interesting. And the hotel was beautiful. I have all the behind the scenes, so I'll be sharing that stuff soon. Um, but anyway, yeah. So that's the story. So anyway, so we covered Bitcoin in the Nasdaq. So you guys have any questions? Uh, but I love it here in Spain. I love it. I mean, I haven't really explored Barcelona yet or anything. I'm not going to have a lot of time to spend here, but man, what I've seen here is just beautiful. And the people I meet here, oh, my dream is to go to New York. Why? They all want to go to New York, but I can understand. In fact, Barcelona, what I've seen so far, it reminds me of an older version of New York. Like all the architecture, it's very similar, but New York is much newer and I have to say, a little cleaner and more modern. Everything here is old, but I like old. I like the history stuff. I mean, there's a lot. It's very old, and that's what I like. I love that character. I love it. Like the restaurant that we went to yesterday. which I was there till I was there till like 4 a.m. or whatever. It had this really cool little lounge in the basement, and it was like that's what I'm looking for. I can never find that in New York, not like that, you know. And they were playing the music that I love. Like it's like they knew the music that I love. I could pick like the artist that produced this. I'm like, I know this guy, I know that guy, I know this guy. So anyway, yeah. Um, no, Gray, no, the competition was done. I hosted it. It was streamed on Friday and Saturday, so you can watch it. You can watch both. It was 2 6-hour streams, and I hosted. I was the host, so that's why I'm here in Barcelona. In fact, if you watch my Wednesday stream before I left, I put the link, but I don't have the link right now. Maybe someone can look it up. Can someone look up the link? It's ICTC 2025. If you look up Whitebit, if you Google Whitebit ICTC 2025, the page will come up, and you can actually watch the live streams that were done on Saturday and on Friday. You can see the whole thing. It's 2 6-hour streams. 8 traders compete with each other to try to win the cup, the crypto trading cup, and I was the host. And so it was the first guy you're going to see on that stream is me. And then I have my co-hosts and stuff like that. So check it out, man. You don't have to watch the whole thing. It's 12 hours worth of content. But ICTC, can I? You know what? Maybe I could type it in here real quick. Just Google it. Let me see. Google this. ICTC 2025 Whitebit, because that's the exchange, Whitebit. Okay, they have offices here in Barcelona, and they have offices all over the place. I mean, that's that man. They're amazing, by the way. They're amazing. If you could use Whitebit, their customer service is just. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but it's. I have never experienced customer service like that one. So anyway, Whitebit, they don't serve a lot of countries. They don't serve, but they're growing. They're an exchange. They're like Coinbase, and they're unbelievable. So they were nice enough. They invited me to be the host of their show. A lot of money. If you saw what the control room looked like, they had a control room. There were more than 22 people in that control room. Okay, I mean, it was a big deal, man. And I was the host. So that's why I'm here. Check it out. Check it out, Gray. It's amazing. Check it out. It was a lot of fun, and now you'll know all the stuff I'm talking about. So that's why I'm in Barcelona, and and that show was done in Andorra, which I had never heard of. And anyway, all right, guys. So I know I'm talking too much. You're my only friends now because all my friends left. So I have to go outside and make new friends. It's now 10:45 p.m. and I haven't eaten yet, so I'm probably gonna eat something because here you can find food everywhere at any time. This is when people get started here in Spain. Perfect, it's great, perfect for my schedule. And then I'm gonna see if I could find some social activity or something because now that I got this nice room, you can see the bed here. Check this out. See? Check that out. Yeah. I could make some use of that. Maybe. What do you think, Andrea? Close your eyes. You know what? You know what I'm talking about, guys. Maybe. No, I'm not. I'm really bad when it comes to that. So probably not. But it's the thought that counts, right? Look at that. It's really soft too. Look at that. And then there's like the bathroom. See that? See, it's a beautiful room, by the way. So I don't need a green screen. Oh man, what happened here? I don't need a green screen for this one. And like I said, Gray, I was trying to stream from outside by the pool. I was by the pool earlier, and I was trying to stream, but my effing battery gave me a problem, and like it wasn't working right. But I was gonna stream from the pool, and but I probably would have been really annoying because I would have been like, "Hey guys, blah 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 blah," and the people would be like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" Streaming from the pool. But I want to do stuff like that, stream from like remote locations and like do my stuff and do my trade, my trade stream and stuff where we could do the NASDAQ. I want to do it from like, every country that I go to. I want to do it and do it like, like that, So when I go visit Stain in Belgium, I'll stream with him. I'll be like, Stain, you sit next to me and we'll stream together. So yeah, no, it's really nice room. I mean, this is like the basic room. It's not like a fancy room. But thanks, Gray. So yeah, make sure you check out the ICTC 2025 thing, and you know, and check that out. For those of you that are watching on Twitter and stuff, by the way, do me a favor, press the like button and subscribe. I forgot to ask. Press the like button and subscribe if you can. It always helps. That kind of thing. Here, I'll put the little thing over here. And if you're on Twitter, do me a favor, Twitter people. Do me a favor, retweet my stream. Can you do me a favor, please? Retweet it. No one retweets my streams. So help me out with that. I really appreciate that. And yeah. So guys, yeah, and once I get my I got so much stuff, so much footage, and I'm not finished. I have a lot more to capture. I'm gonna be sharing all the behind, like my Instagram has nothing on it, but now I have a lot of content. So I'm gonna be sharing my stuff on there and stuff. You guys will see a lot of stuff, and I got a lot of content. All right, guys. So anyway, for those of you, again, any questions or anything, you know where to find me. You can send me an email at mark@markbmarkets.com or send me a message on TradingView and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm going to be busy tomorrow, so I'm not going to be able to get back to you. And Wednesday, I'm going to be on my way back. So the next 2 days, I'm probably not going to be able to answer emails and stuff. But I know I'm tired. But, but I will eventually get back to you. All right, cool. Any other questions? Cool, eh? Yeah, again, this was like a test for me because I wanted to see what it'd be like with the equipment wise and what kind of stuff, like what goes right, what goes wrong, what do I need to like do this, remotely like this. So this was a good experience for me as well, even though it's in the boring hotel room. I was hoping to be in a more exciting location, and all that kind of stuff. So now that I know how this worked, I'm more prepared now. Like I know what I have to get to whatever. And I'm using a second monitor. Like this Bitcoin thing is on the second monitor that I got, and I can get a third monitor. That might be cool too. And I don't know. I'll figure it out. All right, you guys. So thanks for listening. It's funny. All the people said here, because I had to host that show with 6 hours. They're like, you spoke for 6 hours and you're not even tired. I'm like, it's fun, man. I just can't stop talking. And then I'd be talking for more on top of that. You guys, I'm like, my followers know that because I stream and I can't stop talking. So anyway, all right, Howard. Oh, Howard, you guys are all still here. Man, I figured half the people would be sleeping by now. I should be sleeping by now. All right, I'm going to stop. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening. Oh, real quick. I'll probably stream Friday, probably my regular stream at 9:30 a.m. And then after that, I'll be back on my regular schedule. All right. So again, guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening, wherever you're watching in the world. And thank you very much for watching.